Well, hello everyone. I would like to introduce you back to our series ranking Halo's series missions. Most people have played Halo, but not many have beaten it on the hardest difficulty, and once again, no, I'm not talking about Legendary, but Lasso, aka Legendary All Skulls On. This game mode is typically not for the faint of heart, as the extra skulls make the game much more difficult in every way possible. Masochism is probably key in this with some of the crazy skulls. Odds are you're going to be begging for ammo, shields, and an overall will to live. This episode will be continuing ranking easiest to hardest missions with one of the hardest lassos out there with the MCC version of Halo CE. This game is pretty absurd as you can't pick up any Covenant guns, will be reeling for ammo, and grunts explode on death. I would suggest having a friend to play it with, as me and Eric would have gone absolutely insane trying it alone. Once again, this will be taking glitch and skips into consideration, although I may not know all of them and may not have used all of them in my playthrough. So let's get started off with number 10, the easiest mission. This man left us behind on Reach, and now he wants us to climb through this flood-infested ship. Bright side is there's an easy flood bump glitch that takes you right to the cutscene where we can see our human-turned-turnip Captain Keyes. Thankfully as well, because this would easily be the hardest lasso mission without a flood bump. Once you get the bump though, you literally have no challenge at all finishing the mission. Just let the flood and the Covenant kill each other a little bit, and take out 2 Spec Ops squads, and you're on your way to the ending of this mission and towards the lasso achievement. I made this mission infinitely harder in our playthrough because I didn't know where to go in the end. So, big oof on my part. This mission is actually super easy. If you've ever seen a speedrun of this map, you'll know why as well. You either fall off the cliff safely and no enemies spawn in the rest of the map, or get into a Banshee. Either way, it's a guaranteed victory. Prior to that drop, you really have minimal enemies to take out, and unlike most lasso missions, you quite literally do not have to care about your ammo reserves at all, which is refreshing to say the least. This mission, along with Keyes, isn't exactly the most rewarding, but you would definitely prefer to glitch your way through it than battle your way through the whole mission, because Lasso makes you tear your hair out enough without that struggle. So this mission is the actual easiest in my heart because it takes literally no glitches to be easy. 343 feels more like a horror set piece than an actual mission, which is why it's probably so memorable for everyone, but that really doesn't make it for a difficult lasso mission. For the most part, just like Legendary, you can pretty much just run through the entire mission, and if you know where you're going, you're pretty much golden. The only thing that could make this relatively difficult is this is your first encounter with the Flood, and if you're not accustomed to them, it could be a little bit difficult, but once you realize you can melee the spores for shields, you're pretty much set. As I go through this list, I'm beginning to realize how big of a difference difficulty is in a lot of these missions in CE. This mission was another breeze, but a very fun breeze at that. If you're good enough, you can slide out of the Warthog into the final area. If you're not quite as good at that, kind of like me, then you're going to go unlock that door first, before going into the main building. No enemies here really pose a threat, as you can just mow everyone down with a Warthog if you really wanted to. And on top of that, overshields are in an overabundance here. If you know how to drive your Warthog, know how to do a small skip to the final panel, and know the correct path to take with invisibility, which of course the first time I did this I completely forgot and it didn't go well, then you have this mission pretty much entirely completed. It beats out the previous 3 as there are more opportunities to mess up, but it is still a fairly easy lasso and a great map. Now, these next two are so even that I had to go with Halo for our number 5. Halo is difficult in one area, but is super easy in the rest if you know what you're doing. Prior to getting your Warthog can be a little bit of a tough task. You have several of dropships with a lot of enemies in a large open space, and if you don't know where to go for cover, it could be a bit difficult. But once you kind of get that figured out, you can use the grunts to your advantage, and it shouldn't be too difficult. After that, it's pretty easy. You just need to make sure your Marines die in 2 areas. Use Selfish Prick you. And then get a real Master Chief Marine Sniper Boy to kill all the enemies. But for the love of God, do not, I repeat, do not kill your Marines too much. If you do, Sniper Boy will wreck you into oblivion and make you question your existence. In my opinion, this is the perfect starting mission. It introduces you to the difficulty of lasso without being too punishing. The only bad thing I can say about this map is the random explosions that can occur in the environment and kill you. Not a big fan of those. This introduces you well to the grunt explosion mechanic in confined spaces, along with the meleeing for shield on unsuspecting elites. Not only that, but it applies a little bit of difficulty with it as well. You are given no grenades until the end, unless you feel like killing your Marines for them, and having your Marines wanting to kill you isn't always a great idea. That and a decent amount of red elites don't die from grunt explosions, so you'll need to find other ways to kill them. But you're not totally screwed, as the mission gives you a few overshields as well. Definitely one of the best balanced maps in CE. There is a huge jump between the difficulty of the first 6 missions I named and these remaining 4. That is for sure. Now, this mission I am not a fan of. I will not deny that. I did not have fun doing this. There's really 2 well-known strats you can go with here. You can use an infinite ammo glitch with a rocket, and take things incredibly slow and boring, or you can just will your way to victory like any other lasso playthrough, but let's be honest, you probably don't want to do that. Of course, the rocket glitch was used for me, but even still, this mission was a tedious pain in the ass. I mean, the mission spawns you in front of 4 sentinels shooting at you. It's like the evil grandfather of Gravemind level starts. If you glitch, you can pretty easily get to the first pillar, but the way to the second pillar is the biggest pain. We actually had an easy time with the end of the mission, where 2 wraiths are guarding banshees, but at least in my experience on Legendary, this is never a trivial area. A mission with this many enemy vehicles instantly means that you're going to be spending hours on this one. But if you've made it this far, you probably aren't quitting. I recently found out for this mission you can use a Banshee glitch, of which you can pretty much fly through the whole map. I didn't know this was a thing, but that's why I chopped it all the way down to number 4 on this list. The Maw is heavily tied into the previous ones on this list, but it adds Flood, Hunters, and the worst, in my opinion, Sentinels. That makes the areas that you've already been through much more difficult. The hardest parts of this map are spots where Flood will infinitely spawn. The one near the cryo bay, and making your way up to the 3rd floor of the engine room after blowing 1 engine up are the first 2 that come to mind. Those make things incredibly hard, and any area where you are pelted by sentinel beams are not a good time as well. Maybe it was the elation of knowing we got this far, but something about this mission was electric and very fun. The very bright side of the Maw is the Maw run is not very difficult. If you've done it flawless on Legendary, you're perfectly fine doing it on Lasso. And wow, the hype after beating this one is unreal. This mission is basically just the Halo melee simulator, and we shall only refer to it as such. Now, I know on this mission you can use an infinite ammo glitch as well, but using it for majority of these maps, I don't know, kind of sucks the fun out of it just a little bit. Either way, there is a reason both me and Eric finished with melee bringing our most kills. This mission starts you off with no good weapons against combat flood, and gives you barely any ammo throughout. Meleeing instantly becomes the way to survive as it refills your shields. Every single glitch that you can use on this map you will need to do, or you'll probably die very, very quickly. Honestly, I don't have much to say about this map. It really is just a brutal slugfest all the way through that is kind of frustrating. The library used to be one of my favorite legendary missions, but now it feels as though it has been taken down a few steps on my list. I definitely understand why people hate this map now. Either way, if you're this far, please persevere through this one. All I can say for this map is wow. Just wow. This map is where shit gets real. If you can beat this map, you can do any part of Halo CE. Now you may think that this means I have so many bad things to say about this map, but it has grown into my favorite LASO map by far. This map is incredibly difficult all the way along, but it's a shining example of a map that is fair and difficult. The map rewards practice like no other, and is definitely something that can be mastered. It doesn't give you a third weapon so that you can have unlimited ammo, but it gives you just enough sniper ammo to get past each section, so you need to have your shit down. If you use too much grenades and sniper before getting yourself on the ship, you're screwed. Once you're on the ship, you need to be able to conserve your health and ammo and be ready to melee and try and run past areas where you can, as well as using invisibility where applicable. It's just perfection. Going from a relatively open outside area to a close quarters ship where the mechanics flip like a switch, and its difficulty associated with that is unlike any map I've played. The only complaint I can come up with is the fact that Keys can die quite easily from grunt explosions, but keep in mind that in co-op, he only follows one of the characters, so you can make sure he stays behind in safety because of that. While everything I've said seems like praise, just remember it's harder than any map on this list. There is no cheesing this map. It's a large amount of skill and knowledge with a little bit of luck. And that's why it's perfect. CE was a very different LASO than Reach. CE is obviously a great game, but parts of it felt incredibly easy, while other parts of it felt incredibly difficult. It's not the first game that I would suggest for someone trying LASO, but it can definitely be enjoyed, and obviously much more with friends. Well everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you start trying some of these LASOs, as they can actually be a really great time. If you feel like seeing rankings of other games when we actually play them and get through them, feel free to hang around, possibly. Be sure to dislike, unsubscribe, and I will not see you in the next one.